Welcome! In this video, I will be reading an 1879 newspaper. Before we begin, here are some things that happened in 1879. In 1879, they started bottling milk. In 1879, Madison Square Garden was the first in America to open an ice rink. In 1879, Woolworth started his very first 5-and-dime store. 1879 was the year that Doc Holliday shot his very first man. (1879) was the year that Edison showed off his light bulb invention. Future President Theodore Roosevelt got his picture taken in 1879. He was known then for being a great wrestler. And finally, this tricycle was invented in 1879. The Coventry Rotary. Tricycles were all the rage in the 1800s. Many adults rode tricycles. Some children's tricycles even had horses. There was a huge crop of different styles and makes of tricycles. Some were invented to ride tandem, and some to ride solo. I thought you would enjoy seeing these tricycles actually be ridden. This is an old video clip from England. Now for today's newspaper. It's dated April 29th, 1879, and is from Portland, Oregon. The Oregonian newspaper is still in circulation today. One of the most curious relics probably that has ever been found in the Miami Valley was discovered one day recently at the residence of Mr. Julius Ogler on Buckeye Street. It is a small sculptured stone head about the size of a coconut. The work is roughly done and bears the appearance of a very ancient date. The material is a piece of white sandstone, the surface black with age, weighing in all 6 to 8 pounds. The features have a half Mongolian, half Egyptian cast, and the nose is partly broken, and one side of the head has been destroyed, though not so as to affect the face. A little trouble took place on Sunday, week last, at the Spokane, between the whites and Indians. The Indians claimed the land, which a man named Grant had settled on, and ordered him off. Grant refused to go and swore out a warrant against the Indians. One was arrested, and as they were about to lock him up, 25 mountain Indians rode in and demanded his release, saying they would take him from the sheriff by force if he did not let him go quietly. The justice stepped between the prisoner and his friends with a shotgun, telling them to take him if they wanted him. The Indians had a powwow and decided they did not care about taking him. Monday noon, Chiefs Jerry and Enoch came to the justice and said they were very sorry their men had caused any trouble and that it should not occur again. A thief detected, San Francisco. About a year ago, General Dodge, superintendent of the Mint, called the attention of the police authorities to the fact that some stealing was going on in the Mint. Detectives Stone and John were detailed to work up the case. Their labors resulted some time ago in detecting the frauds committed by Cook and Elverson of the San Francisco refinery, heretofore detailed, and Tuesday last they arrested Henry Smith, a colored night watchman of the Mint. Smith asserted his innocence of any crime, but the officers, on searching his premises on Broadway, found buried in the garden a small smelting furnace and bean pot containing a number of ingots of gold worth about $6,000. They also found $1,000 in coin in the house. Smith now acknowledges that he stole the gold in a crude state from the Mint and reduced it on his own premises. The stockboard hat is the latest style for gentlemen this spring. It is creating quite a sensation in San Francisco, is light in weight, and answers as a dress hat in place of a silk hat. The price is only $5 and made of the very best material. The Resource hat, as a cool and light summer hat, is the best adopted for this climate. Price $2 and only to be found at Musseldorfer's Wholesale and Retail. Child abducted. Monday morning, Mrs. McDonald, who resides at the corner of 3rd and Clay Streets, came to the police headquarters in a state of great excitement and stated that her little daughter Alice, age 12, had been missing from home since 6 o'clock Sunday evening. The half-distracted mother had searched everywhere for the little truant, but failed to discover her child. After leaving a description of the child, dress, etc., Mrs. McDonald left the jail. While walking up the street between the hours of 11 and 12, the mother met the missing Alice. The child had long, beautiful hair, which came down nearly to her waist when she left her home, and after the first flush of excitement attending to the meeting of mother and daughter had subsided, Mrs. McDonald noticed that Alice had been shorn of her silken ringlets. Alice's statement. Briefly and substantially, the following is the little girl's story. Sunday afternoon, while I was on my way home from Sunday school, it was about 3:30 o'clock, I was met by a tall man who wore long chin whiskers. He stopped me on the sidewalk and said, "There are some little girls up here who wish to see you." He took me by the hand and led me up Jefferson Street until we came opposite the old Portland Academy. We went into the building and he kept me there until late that evening, until after dark. While we were in the academy, the man took out of his pockets a small pair of scissors and cut off a few locks of my hair. I began to cry and he stopped. After dark, he took me out of town in the woods. When we got into the woods, the man sat down near me and took out his scissors and cut off all my hair close to my scalp. After that, he sat down on the ground and we remained there all night. During the night, the man kept rolling up cigarettes and smoking them. The next morning, he left me, saying he would soon return. I was so frightened that as soon as he left me, I ran away and came to the city and wandered about the streets until I found my mother. The child describes the person who abducted her as being a large, tall man with light whiskers. The child says that the man did not attempt to outrage her, did not offer to take any improper liberties at all. The child was completely exhausted from fright, exposure, and her long walk. In some respects, the child's story is quite extraordinary, but she tells all the particulars in an artless manner quite sufficient to convince even an incredulous person that it was not manufactured. One fact is certain, and that is that the child was away from home all night, and diligent search on the part of the mother failed to discover her whereabouts. When they reached the jail, the poor mother was almost frantic with excitement and had to be separated from the child. If Alice tells the truth, it is a very singular affair. What possible motive the abductor could have had can only be vaguely conjectured.